Finish. Out of the back. Don't finish.
Put this one. I should put out the back.
Yeah, but then for only. Come back. Thank you.
Those people are where we tested. The number of that place more than 1 car.
We want to go out! Let us go out from this place! If you want to go out,
You are telling me I should mind you. You think I'm afraid of you? Who are you?
Yes.
Give the time and click at
I know. Officer, come on, arrest this man. Arrest him. Arrest him. Stupid man. Arrest him.
record of the device it has finished.
Simple.
Okay, what happened here was the National Industrial Court Enforcement Unit came to enforce the judgment that we had against the Accountant General for our clients. I represent the judgment creditor. And we had written severally to the Accountant General to honor the judgment of court that was delivered sometime in 2023. We sent in several letters, and we even tried to meet with the Accountant General in person, but we could not. And so the last letter we wrote to him, we informed him that if we didn't hear a favorable response from them, that we will have to enforce the judgment. And since we didn't hear anything from the Accountant General of the Federation, we had to mobilize the court to come and enforce the judgment so that our client, who is over 75 years old now, would be able to enjoy the fruits of the judgment before for the remaining days of his life. And that is the exercise that took place here this afternoon. Yes, he was unlawfully dismissed from service and he went to court. And in fact, it's a long story. He went to court. The court, unfortunately, said that his matter was statute barred and so that there was nothing they could do for him. He appealed that judgment to the Court of Appeal. It was at the Court of Appeal when we went for a matter that we noticed that the man didn't have any representation, and the court appealed to counsel to take up the matter pro bono, and we obliged. And we obliged, completed the matter at the Court of Appeal. The matter was remitted to the National Industrial Court for retrial, and we went again to National Industrial Court, had the matter tried and determined in his favor. And since then, we've been struggling to have the court enforce, the Accountant General obey the judgment of court. Well, I think he did his work within his jurisdiction, which some members of the organization felt he didn't obtain some permission or something, but from the records we have, we saw that he was really within his powers to take the actions he took. But because he was just a no man, in want of words, he had to be. In fact, other colleagues of his that faced the similar situations were, forgiven and allowed to save the remaining part of their service. But unfortunately for him, he didn't have anybody to fight for him, and so he had to face that fate. Like I mentioned to you, since when he was unlawfully dismissed, he's been living on meager. He will farm. Anytime he comes here to attend to his matter in court, he stays in the mosque. He doesn't even have the means to take a hotel. He stays in the mosque. Sometimes he comes to the office and they stay with us for the matter. And so he's been struggling like that since, I don't have the records here when that incident happened. And so many people like that are facing similar thing in this country. And it is sad when a parastatal like the Office of the Accountant General, who ought to know, and would, not obey the judgment of court, and the money is not that big. It's a meager sum just to make the man continue having a decent living. We're looking at about 50-something million naira. 50-something. Let me see if I can lay hands on the real figure now. 59-point-something million. Only.
59-point-something million naira.
Yes.
So tell us.
Of course, it's not usually easy to enforce the judgment of courts. People, emotions will rise and all that. And like you would have observed, you saw people trying to frustrate it. Some of them were arrested, and a lot of them rousiness and everything. That's usually the case. Nobody wants to obey judgment of court. When they want to come and enforce, they want to frustrate it. But unfortunately and thankfully, we were able to complete the exercise. Yes, it was unfruitful. When I wanted to respond to his questions, he left. I was trying to give him the background information that led to this enforcement, but unfortunately, he didn't wait to hear it. I'm sure his staff would tell him. Well, it's just to simply obey the judgment of court. Simple. Obey. If they had obeyed the judgment of court, we wouldn't be here. if they had even responded to the letters, the pleas that we made to them, maybe there would have been a one way or the other to resolve the matter amicably. But just in their usual way, they ignored, and that is why we had to come and do what we did now. Thank you very much. I am Ibanga Nana for the Judgement creditor.
The lead counsel had spoken, my senior in chambers. The annoying thing of this whole incident is judgments of courts consist or constitute law in our nation, and it must be obeyed. If the government, for which the judiciary is part of, delivers its judgments and federal parastatals, government officials choose to flagrantly disobey those judgments of courts, thinking there will be no consequences, I mean, that speaks little of the legal system and how much we value our jurisprudence in this nation, which is the community of laws that we have. This judgment was sent to the Accountant General, the previous Accountant General, the present Accountant General. Several letters were written to that effect, that the judgment of court must be obeyed, and yet they chose not to obey the judgment. And while we came to enforce the judgment, we kept getting the response, have you had a physical meeting with the Accountant General? Must we come to his office in order for him to obey judgment of courts? Nigerians at this point must begin to respect the rule of law, because that on its own translates to economic development. No investor will bring their funds to a community where they don't respect the law. The rule of law governs everybody, even the Accountant General, no matter who he is. Everybody must abide by the law. Thank you so much.